Howdy y'all, how's everybody doing today? I'm the Cowboy from the Cosmos, welcome back to another Risk video. So today we're going to be starting up a brand new series, which is going to take a look at analyzing tournament settings, how competitive they are, how skilled to luck based are they, and overall my opinion of them. Obviously, I've done the song and dance tournaments a few times now, so I hope my opinion has any sort of meaning to you guys. But yeah, we'll also be discussing strategy and tips for the tournament, so that hopefully if you're seeing this before your game, you get some extra value out of it. And if not, well, maybe there's something for you to see here that you could have improved upon. So the series name is going to be Cosmic's Critiques. I hope you guys like that name. You know, you're gonna have to get used to it because that's what you're stuck with. Actually, why don't we throw one of those up on screen right now? Okay, let's change the font of it though. Okay, how about the color? There we go. Okay, we got ourselves a good ass logo now. So that's just gonna sit up in the top corner wherever I put it. And yeah, besides that, I should note this is all pre-recorded. So what I'm saying to you guys isn't happening while you're watching the match over there. The match actually happened beforehand. And that way I can just focus on talking to you guys and getting the best quality of video out for you people. This isn't a standard for everything going forward, just for this series. So I hope you enjoy that post-commentary sort of style. And yeah, with that out of the way, let's get right into the video, shall we? Alrighty, so now we got ourselves all sorted. You can see the layout here. Hopefully you guys like it. If you have a recommendation to change it, please let me know down below. So what we're going to be discussing first off is what are these settings? Because that's pretty important for you to know is what's going on for this round. So the current round I am doing this assessment for, if it wasn't clear already, is round 3 of the free-for-all World Championship. So the settings are 70% fixed on Spaceport Sigma, 70% domination for clarification, auto setup, blizzards, no fog, no alliances, expert AI, bounce blitz dice. Pretty standard stuff for a 70% fixed game. The settings are pretty interesting. I don't know if I would choose blizzards personally, but I'll get more into that into the later section of the video. So yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and cut to the next part. Alrighty then, thank you for that beautiful segue, Cosmic of the past. Very natural as you can tell. But anyways, so what we're going to be discussing now is what can you expect out of an average match of this? Because obviously your first concerns playing this is how lucky are these settings and what should you expect from them? So these settings are, from what I've talked to a lot of other high-end players, we all seem to agree they're lucky. Although I think they're more based in bad luck rather than good. What I mean by that is that in the match, if you were the bottom two players, you have one of those two players, the bad start, you lose the game every time. It's consistent. It's not changed. I have yet to see a match where someone had one of the worst two positions and came anything above third. So, with that being said, yeah, what to expect from match is that you're going to see two players who will be knocked out immediately. Not necessarily turn one, but they're dead already. They're just stalling till they die eventually. They have to get ungodly lucky to even stay around for a while. So, what about the other four players? Well, you're almost always going to see one person go for both of the ends on the bottoms. That means one player takes left, one player takes right, and you have a player who takes the top area, usually the +4 up in the top left corner-ish. The fourth player usually will find wherever is available land within those, and usually find some level of success. Maybe they go through the middle, maybe they get the +6 towards the top left side-ish, or they go even towards the +8 if they're ballsy enough, and they maybe get it if blizzards are favorable. This map leans very heavily to one or two players having a very big snowball path. I have seen it where one player becomes an unstoppable monsoon from one corner and another from the other, and then they kind of clash head on, and that's the big battle of the match. And everyone in their way is just bounty fodder. So that happens sometimes. Beyond that, another thing that you can learn to expect is seeing players go for bounties early on, because with the way the consonants are set up, if a player gets a consonant turn 1 or 2, they probably have the resources. They're going to immediately grind into another person and get that kill within the first 5 turns. A lot of players don't even make it to the first set of match-ins, so don't be so surprised when that's how aggro people are. The consonant's pretty big on this map, they're going to have a lot of juice coming at it. And on the same note, if you don't get a consonant early, you have a very rough time holding it. You basically have to rely on everyone being good neighbor to you, which isn't a reliable strategy, because round 3 is still early enough on in a tournament, not so many people know about that. But yeah, that's all you can expect from an average round of this game, and now I'm going to take you to the tips and strategy section. Alrighty there, welcome to the tips and strategy section. So unfortunately for these settings, honestly, and it's kind of bumming out that this is the first video, there isn't too much I can give you for advice. Obviously, I'm going to do my absolute best, but unfortunately these settings seem to be pretty self-explanatory. You either get one of those 2 bad starts and lose immediately, or you get a godly start and you just keep grabbing consonants. But we're going to talk about that. So what should your early game look like in this? Now, assuming you are not one of those 2 dead players, your early game should look like this. Step 1 is you figure out where your consonant is. Don't try and fight people for it, you'll lose every time. Just take whatever is available. A +4 works, a +6 works, the +8's almost never taken, but if you get it, that's great. And you just want to use your resources every turn. Don't pointlessly grind them down, but don't be afraid to hit 3-on-1s, 5-on-2s, things that are very likely to win, but not guaranteed. You need to take those kind of risks. You need to push to get your consonant as quick as possible. Without doing that, you're basically setting yourself up to just be on a foot down above everyone else, especially if they get their consonant quicker than you. If a player tries to fight you for your continent, if you have superior forces there and you know you can knock them out of that section of the map in 2 turns at tops, you can possibly fight it, but I'd highly recommend, if you can switch, please don't try and fight a player. It is such a demise in fixed games for you to do that. Now, onto bounties. Bounties in this mode, you should be trying to claim them as soon as you have at least 1 consonant. If you have 2, there is no excuse to not be going for them. Bounties are super key. The players, you're going to get down to a 3-player endgame very quickly. The 4th player, even though 4 players have a good shot, always one of them will be knocked out some point down the line. It doesn't take too long. So, you want to try and push for that 3-player endgame as quick as possible. If you can get 2 bounties before then, great. 1 bounty, that's still good. But if you get no bounties by the point of the 3-player endgame, you're not looking too good for points. So you really want to push for those. Try and secure quick kills. Try and make it so that you can match in turn after killing someone, because I highly doubt you have enough troops to kill someone and still be an Iron Fortress. But if you can knock them out, match in turn, that's pretty good for you. Obviously, take bounties that are handed to you. Try not to fight the bot too much, but you definitely don't want the bot getting strong in these settings. So another tip is that you want to keep the bot weak. If you can afford to break it, you want to. If you can't, then don't. It's pretty obvious how you want to handle that situation, I think. But yeah. Beyond that, for other strategy I can give is that good neighbors can go a long way. Breaking other players, even if they earn slightly more than you per turn, sometimes is a bad idea. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, I've found great success in breaking players a lot. If I have a continent I know they cannot retaliate with, then breaking them over and over again to prevent them from getting strong is a very good way to set up a bounty, or to just put yourself ahead of everyone. I've had games where there's 5 players struggling to get a continent, one of them gets it, I have continents, I have 2 at this point or something, and I just break them over and over again. It's very effective, it's very strong, but again, remember, they might bite you in the ass later on. So, you have to learn how to limit it. And you want to know, can they fuck me over in the next 3 turns or so? Because if they can, you probably want to stop. Beyond that, for other strategy and tips advice that I can hand you guys, is pretty simple stuff. Besides going for bounties and trying to rush continents, you want to play it very passively in the non-bounty spectrum. When you're not going for bounties, if you have 2 or 3 continents, don't try and push for more. I've seen players overextend, and that ends up losing them a lot. And speaking of overextending, the 70% win condition, so many players lose to. Because They either don't prevent a player from just making a beeline around the map and winning, or they try to make a beeline and they fail at it. So you want to be very careful. 70% Spaceport Sigma is a lot fucking more than you think it is, and it's very, very hard for you to nail all of that in one shot. So usually you want to save trying to go for the 70% until it's down to the 1v1 at the end game, unless you absolutely know 100% you're going to get it. If you already have a monumental advantage, you can try it, but you're probably not going to get it otherwise, so you really don't want to waste your resources. Because every time that someone does that, they hand the game to the next player down the line. Because now you've just spent all your resources breaking everyone open and leaving a trail of ones. Well, little Timmy's going to go and roll you now. So yeah, kind of a short strategy and tips section here. I don't have a lot to offer you, unfortunately, for this time around. I hope in future rounds the settings are a bit better for that. So, with all of that strategy advice out of the way, I'm going to segue right into the next section. Alrighty then, you've reached the end. Congratulations. So, I want to give here my final thoughts and my overall rating of the settings. For anyone who doesn't know, I rated the previous round setting, round 2, an 8.5 out of 10. I really liked them. They were very competitive and good settings. My final thoughts here are that I think these settings are just a little too luck-based for my liking. I don't like that 2 players just knocked out immediately. Sometimes it's the AI and sometimes it's 2 humans. When it's 2 humans, that's really unfortunate. That really sucks, to be honest. I don't know. The mode leans itself very heavily into getting a good start. Even if you're super aggressive for consonants, sometimes if your start just isn't good, you just won't have enough resources to push through to grab a consonant early. You get what I'm saying? So, overall, I'm going to have to say that these rounds really aren't my favorite. They're not unfun. I think the settings are interesting to play. And when you get to that 3-player endgame, it's really good. It's like a steak dinner that costs a lot of money, you know? You're not going to be buying it every day. But the days where you do buy it, or when you make it to that 3-player endgame, it can be very interesting and a lot of fun, especially if you're all the same like strength level. Because it's a lot of interesting negotiation. When do you break? When do you hold? When do you push your advantage? All of that. And all of you knowing that one player can get a 70% win con at any given time. So yeah, that's kind of my closing thoughts, is that I'm probably going to rate this, like, I don't know, 6.0, 6.5 out of 10. The settings could be a lot better. They could be worse, but I think that overall they're just very unfortunate that 2 players lose immediately. That's the only really big drawback. If there was a perfect world where that didn't happen, they'd easily be like a 7.5 to 8 settings. They're pretty fun otherwise. But yeah, I want to thank you all very much for watching this video. I hope you all have enjoyed this ride of me. But like every good celestial cowboy, it's time for me to ride off into the sunset. So until our paths next cross, I'll see you next time, gunslingers.